Production funding for Ruckus has been provided by gifts from Dave and Jamie Cummings, the Hartwig family, the Courtney S. Turner Charitable Trust, John H. Mize and Bank of America N.A. co-trustees, and by viewers like you. Thank you.
Welcome to Ruckus, our weekly food for thought fight over the news of the day and the trends of the times. I'm Mike Shannon. The Ruckettes join me shortly, and our topics this week: a not-so-grand grand jury report. How about a report card for schools? And no rose-colored glasses when Steve Rose looks at Sprint. Plus, of course, roast and toast. But we start with our Newsmaker segment and examine another aspect of public works in Kansas City, Missouri. This week, we're talking about folks who like to bike or walk or do both and advocate for government policies that enhance those activities. Joining me to discuss all of that is Eric Bunch. He is co-founder and policy director of the Bike Walk KC. Eric, welcome to Ruckus. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Most critical question, did you bike or walk to the studio?
I did a bit of both. I rode a bike share bike that I caught a few blocks from my house and rode it to the station that's just a block away from here. So I did a bit of both, walking and biking.
I understand May is Bike Month being celebrated in Kansas City. What kinds of activities have taken place?
Oh, so a lot of cities are getting involved on their own, doing breakfast stops and commuter pit stops for bicyclists. One of the big things that's coming up is we have, at Bike Walk KC, we have one of our biggest fundraisers of the year happening on Sunday this week called the Tour de Beer. So it's a cool bike ride tour of all of the fantastic breweries along the way. Everyone gets a little sample of beer along the way, so everyone kind of keeps it tame, but it's a lot of fun.
And they can find out, I assume, at your website?
Absolutely, bikewalkkc.org.
Okay. Bike Walk is an organization. How do you join it? Can anybody get in it?
Yeah, absolutely. Another part of May of Bike Month is we're actually looking for 100 new Bike Walk KC members. We also have the Bike Share System. We own and operate that, which is another membership program, but anyone can join us, join our events, but most importantly, become a member and join our mailing list and get involved.
How big is the organization now?
So as our staff is about 15 full-time employees and then about 20 or 30 part-time folks who do everything from work on bikes in our shop to go out and work with the youth of the Kansas City area. Okay,
I looked at your website. You have like 3 or 4 pillars of major things that you do. One is advocacy. So what do you advocate and to whom?
So advocacy is my primary role as the policy director. What we really strive to do is improve, big picture, we're advocating to ensure that the metro is a more bikeable, walkable place. And that means enhancing our streets to make them safer for people who want to bike. It means ensuring that public transit is accessible for folks who rely on public transit or who want to take public transit more. So that comes in a variety of forms at advocacy. It's advocating for policy. For example, we were recently successful in a campaign to get a complete streets ordinance passed in Kansas City, Missouri. And what that does is it just ensures that any time a street gets some sort of major maintenance or reconstruction, that it's going to be a more bike and pedestrian friendly place.
Do you see a lot of response from public officials with whom you deal?
Yeah, and I mean they're elected officials all over the metro, and in particular we have some champions here on City Council in Kansas City.
Who are they?
A lot of them actually. We had 10 co-sponsors of our Complete Streets Ordinance, and then it passed unanimously. So that was everyone from the mayor to council members in the Northland, council members down here as well. And so we're a pretty non-controversial thing, and so in light of some of the more controversial issues, the airport being one.
You're probably a welcome change of pace for the council.
In fact, our Complete Streets Ordinance went to full council for adoption the same day that the original MOU for the Edgemoor deal came up and was rejected. And so so we were, I think, a breath of fresh air from that controversy.
We're down to about a minute. Let me ask you a couple of other
Sure.
key points about the organization. Education is one of your goals?
Yeah, education. We work with thousands of youth across the city, across the metro area, and so we take a fleet of bikes and a big box truck to elementary schools and work with lots of kids, and that's actually spurred on an Earn a Bike program where we work with kids for several weeks to get them to a point where they're fixing up bikes, and at the end they get a bike to take home with the helmet and lights and all that stuff, and we've given out hundreds of bikes through that. So education is a real key component to what we do.
And the final element, I think, is community planning. You do a lot of work on that, and I think you've been talking about that to some extent.
Yeah, community planning. So we actually, that's become a bit of a source of revenue for us as well, but it's great when you can align revenue generation with, so this is our entrepreneurial spirit at Bike Walk KC. And so we're fulfilling our mission while also, we're doing a lot of good, but also finding ways to fund our organization. That's a small part of our budget, but it's really important work that we do.
And the way people can find out more, your website again?
BikeWalkKC.org, and you can find all of our information there and learn about all of our upcoming events.
Eric, great to meet you. Thank you for coming in.
Oh, thank you. It was great.
That's Eric Bunch from Bike Walk KC. Now let's meet the panel and start a ruckus. Teresa Garza is a former Jackson County legislator. Steve Rose is a Johnson County civic leader and a Kansas City Star columnist. Arthur Benson is a prominent Kansas City attorney. And Patrick Toohey is director of municipal policy at the Show Me Institute, a free market think tank. Welcome to all of you. We'll get to our first topic in just a moment, but we start on a sad note today, the passing of longtime journalist Deborah Holmes. Before she moved to San Francisco a few years ago, Deborah played a key role in KCPT's local programming. She was a regular panelist and sometimes moderator of Kansas City Week in Review in its early days, and later became a regular panelist on Ruckus. Deborah worked hard, thought carefully, and cared deeply for her coworkers, her friends, and her community. Deborah died in late April, just 2 weeks after learning she had cancer. Deborah's was a life well lived, but a life far too brief at 60 years. Well, there was a veritable plethora of news from and about Jackson County government over the past few days. A county grand jury issued a hardly grand report about the jail, saying mice and rats often share cells with inmates. County Executive Frank White raised questions about the report's legitimacy and accused prosecutor Jean Peters Baker of political motivations. Meantime, the legislature is putting charter changes on the August ballot. They call for term limits, pay raises, and some diminution of the county executive's power. And there's a new sheriff in town. Former Kansas City Police Chief Darrell Forte, who retired a couple of years ago, gets the nod as the new Jackson County Sheriff. But let's start with the grand jury. As a former county legislator, what struck you about this report?
Really, I think because they've done several other reports in the past, this kind of reiterated some of the things that were already brought to light in the past. And I think we've talked about on the show before, some of those items and some of those issues. So this just kind of reiterates it and puts it into a different perspective on where they need to prioritize and what they need to do in regards to getting the jail either up to speed or building a new one.
Well, what's the point of having this grand jury listen to all of this if we already know it?
That's a good point. I think part of it is, I mean, people keep pointing fingers and placing blame, but at the end of the day, as a county body, they have to come together and they have to figure out a solution. And how does that look moving forward? And I think this helps that because it is more of a court proceeding, and so it puts more into place the actions that need to occur. You know, the county executive sees the day-to-day operations, the county legislature oversees the budget and determines how the money is spent, the prosecutor handles all of the individuals that are going into the jail. So it has to be a collaborative effort.
Do you see anything new about this report, Arthur?
No. We've known the jail has been a sore spot in Jackson County for a long time. We've had at least 2 commissions before and now a grand jury report essentially coming to the same conclusion. It's dysfunctional. And it's certainly not adding to the criminal justice system in the county. Hopefully this will move the legislature and the county executive to actually get moving towards GO, whatever GO is.
Do you have much optimism that's going to occur?
It may after the elections. I think there likely will be some changes. I do think the idea of term limits is a terrible idea. I mean, term limits doesn't fit anywhere. It's somebody else telling me who I can vote for or I can't, and it invites lobbyists to have a greater sway over newbie legislators. It won't add, in my view, any impetus at all to fixing the dysfunction of Jackson County.
Well, term limits is one of the proposed changes in the August ballot, and you just recently wrote a column in the Star about your view of term limits.
We are simpatico on that issue. I also would vote against term limits, but my understanding is that the county executive is in charge of the jail. And that I find absolutely incomprehensible.
That would be a change in the charter if approved by voters.
Yes. I mean, maybe it's because I've lived in Johnson County my whole life, and the sheriff has always been in charge of the jail. But I can't conceive of somebody not in law enforcement, not sheriff, not the person at the top, being in charge of that jail, because that person's in there all the time and sees it. You almost get the impression that Frank White's never set foot in there, and if he has, shame on him.
Steve, I'm not sure the sheriff spends much time in the jail, actually.
Well, they should.
They have a separate entity in Eastern Jack.
The jail is a lot more than just housing people charged with crimes. It's become our sort of last resort place for people with mental health issues. Medical and psychological problems often end up in the jail. It's a larger problem than just law enforcement. But I tend to agree that this division of responsibility, where the sheriff has responsibility for the sort of the custodial aspects of the jail, and the county executive has responsibility for the management and the budget with the legislature, is dysfunctional.
We got to wrap this up.
Agree.
I want to ask Patrick, one of the charter changes that may be on the ballot would increase salaries for legislators, the executive, sheriff, and prosecutor. Legislators will get a 43% pay hike. I assume you're in favor of that?
I can't imagine that a government that is basically saying we have screwed this up and screwed it up for years is going to be successful going to the people saying we'd like a raise. I do think, however, that term limits will pass. I will disagree with the previous speakers. I believe it is a good thing and certainly something that's needed. The opportunity that might be missed is a lot of small changes where we fail to take a look at the county at large and make some more dramatic
And I'm going to say
reforms.
I disagree in regards to term limits. I mean, look what it's done to our state legislatures and our federal, and where you have individuals running every 2 years. They get in, they learn the job, and then they're running again. And so they don't have really time to know like the historical context of certain bills, what those look like, how they even came to fruition on the floor. And so I think that's the same even in local government, is that you need some of that historical context and some of that ongoing continuance.
Well, Missouri legislators had enough time to learn about impeachment.
Correct.
Okay.
Quickly.
Kansas Secretary of State and gubernatorial hopeful Chris Kobach knows how to generate publicity and controversy, and he's done both with a new plan to improve public education in Kansas. Building on a concept from the Kansas Policy Institute, Kobach calls for a system where each school would get a letter grade for how students performed on standardized tests. Move up a grade and everyone in the school gets a bonus payment. Get an F and students get money to enroll elsewhere. Details will be forthcoming shortly. Kobach says the idea is to introduce competition into the public education system. Although we're admittedly short on details right now, what is your early reaction to this idea, Patrick?
Well, I think the first thing we need to recognize is that we already have education competition among schools, even in the Kansas City area. We all know people who have picked up and moved across boundaries, moved across state lines sometimes to seek a better education. If you look at the Shawnee Mission School District, for example, you might consider that to be an enclosed private school because people have to move in, they have to be able to afford the housing costs. So it isn't a matter of are we going to encourage school choice, it's a matter of are we going to take a right of school choice that is enjoyed by people of means and spread it to people who maybe can't afford to sell their house or
Well,
buy
what do you think
new.
about the standardized test and what the overall school grade turns out to be,
Sure.
whether the people in the school get increases in funding or get money to go elsewhere.
I think you've got to introduce an incentive. And the people who perhaps disagree with the idea of relying on standardized testing have already relied on standardized testing scores when they sue the state of Kansas, saying, gosh, a quarter of our kids aren't performing, therefore the state isn't providing an adequate education.
The school districts in Johnson County would really appreciate this program, since all the districts function very well and probably would all get A's and probably would reap all the benefits of it. It would be the districts, frankly, and we all know about them, where the districts have a lot of minority students, a lot of students who don't speak English as their primary language, a lot who have challenges of cultural challenges. Those are the schools where you're going to end up getting lower grades and where you're going to end up with kids being dumped into so-called private schools.
Can you imagine the lawsuits Kansas City, Kansas, and Wichita would file if this plan went into action?
It would take them about a nanosecond, and they probably would prevail.
I want to talk to Arthur, who's had some experience with schools and public funding of education. You were, of course, deeply involved in the Kansas City, Missouri litigation. What is your reaction to this idea that Mr. Kobach has mentioned recently?
Well, it's a terrible idea. High stakes standardized testing has brought a wrecking ball to education in the nation for 20 years, ever since No Child Left Behind. No government has developed a standardized test that measures the kind of educational outcomes and achievements that students need to be successful in life, either contributing to their community, in employment, and getting along with friends. Education is more than being able to fill in a bubble on a standardized test, and this kind of high-stakes test just would wreak havoc.
While I have you here, let me ask you a question.
There are better ways to measure outcomes.
Let me ask you a question about school finance in Kansas overall. There's just been a $500 million increase approved by the legislature, and the attorneys for the school districts have said they need $1.5 billion more to properly finance education in Kansas. Does that seem rational to you?
Well, the Kansas Constitution has this phrase that requires the legislature to provide for an adequate education.
Oh, it says make sufficient...
Suitable.
Suitable is the word. And suitable is not an educational term. It's more of a political kind of term. If it were up to me, suitable money would be the full $2 billion, but it's not up to me. I don't live in Kansas.
Is there a limit? Would it be beyond $2 billion, do you think?
No, actually, we have underinvested in all kinds of education in our nation for 30 years. We underperform much of the world when it comes to the kinds of innovative educational programs that are successful. I think our nation would be much better off if we spent a lot more money in elementary through college education than we do.
We tried spending an awful lot of money in the Kansas City, Missouri school district, and we've seen no benefit. And I think what is clear is, regardless of how much more money they spend in Kansas, outcomes will not improve.
Well, I want to say,
do you agree there was no benefit from the billion plus spent in Kansas City, Missouri?
The desegregation program resulted in about $2 billion being spent in Kansas City, but was not for educational improvement. It was for desegregation.
Did it succeed?
Rebuilding the capital plan.
Is the district desegregated now?
The program succeeded for the 11 years it was allowed to before the Supreme Court completely switched. We went from a 5-4 approval when Marshall was on the court to a 5-4 disapproval when Thomas replaced Marshall, and it cut the program off just as it was getting running. But during the 11 years it was fully running, it was highly successful. It was the most successful desegregation program in the nation.
All right, I wish we had more time because I know you wanted to say something, but unfortunately, got to move on. No one can accuse Steve Rose of wearing rose-colored glasses when it comes to the possible Sprint T-Mobile merger. In his May 12th column, Steve says he is confident the merger will be approved and urges the 6,000 Sprint employees in Overland Park to run, not walk, to the nearest exit. Sprint CEO Marcelo Clore calls Steve's observations inaccurate and misinformed, saying the merger will create jobs, help consumers, and deliver 5G technology. So, Mr. Rose, are you still confident the merger will occur and cost thousands of Johnson County jobs?
Yes, I'm very confident it will pass because I don't think that Donald Trump wants to be presiding over two mega mergers, AT&T being the other one with Time Warner.
That did not succeed. It was turned down by the government.
And they've knocked that back. Right, exactly. So, they're going to, out of the $146 billion merger, they're going to save, by their own admission, $40 billion of that over 3 years. And yet they claim that they're not going to be, subtracting employees. What they're going to be doing is shifting around a lot. They do promise that they will have a net increase. They don't say where or how, and they're certainly not talking about it at the headquarters in Overland Park. There we have a lot of redundancy with the people who are in Seattle with T-Mobile. Those people will be gone. There'll be people offered the opportunity to relocate, won't relocate, and then there'll be some that'll be left there. And I don't know what that number is going to be. My guess would be maybe a third or something like that will be left there over an extended period of time. But I mean, it would be kind of naive to think that we're going to end up with the same number of employees at the headquarters after that kind of a merger.
Well, Teresa, can you think of organizations that merge and have two headquarters?
No, I think we talked about that a little bit earlier before this show started, and none of us could think of a single one that has two headquarters. So I don't know if that's going to be plausible here in Kansas City with Sprint and this merger.
Why do you think Sprint hasn't done as well as it should? It seems to have strong advertising, reasonably good service, reasonable prices. Why doesn't it succeed?
I don't know. I'm an AT&T user.
That's why it doesn't succeed.
Mike, that whole 5G promise is complete malarkey, because 5G is not going to be implemented by any one telecom until the nation has fiber optic cable installed. Every house, every building, every school. There will be no benefits to 5G, and saying that Sprint T-Mobile is going to do it is like asking trucking companies to build their own highways. Republican President Eisenhower changed transportation policy, and we got an interstate highway system that stimulated jobs around the nation, and it was available to anyone who paid a modest gas tax. Until Europe, China, Finland, the Baltic countries are all doing full cable 5G, and we won't do it until the nation builds a 5G network and then leases it to corporations.
If this merger is approved by the government, will it raise prices for consumers?
I can't imagine they want it to. It's a very competitive market. People can switch very easily between carriers. And by the way, let me add that Jackson County has two corporate headquarters, and that seems to be working swimmingly for us.
We're talking about the private. You're talking about government.
But I think what's clear is that none of us have any insight into what's going to happen with T-Mobile.
Steve does,
and we don't have any insight into what's going on in the Trump administration. Absolutely none. I think as local pundits or activists, what we need to do is make sure that Johnson County, Jackson County does not get involved in subsidizing big projects that just may not bear out, because again, with the example of Sprint, it's a competitive market we could have not seen.
Well, I want to clear up one thing that was said in an earlier program, and that had to do with the taxpayers getting kind of shafted by this because of the abatements that they had offered Sprint. And I just wanted to go on record as saying those abatements have long expired. Sprint has been paying $12 million a year in taxes, and T-Mobile, if they buy it, will continue to pay those taxes. So I just wanted to make that one.
And this topic has expired.
All right.
And now we go to the soapbox for Roast and Toast, where the Ruckheads have 30 seconds each to celebrate, elaborate, or irritate. And let's start with Patrick.
On Wednesday, the House committee overseeing the conduct of Missouri's governor held a committee hearing, and it resulted in an explosive exchange between the committee chairman, Jay Barnes of Jefferson City, and the governor's attorney, Eddie Grime of Kansas City, specifically about due process. Now, I don't have any legal expertise to offer an opinion on what they discussed, but I know both gentlemen. Jay Barnes and Eddie Grime are some of the greatest legal minds we have in Missouri, and their conduct has been with the utmost of integrity. Whatever the outcome of the investigation and perhaps an impeachment trial, Barnes and Grime represent the best, and the process will be better because of their participation. A toast to them both.
Teresa?
Yes, I'm going to give a kudos to the governor of Kansas, Senator David Haley, the Innocence Project, and all of those that were involved in House Bill 2579. It is a bill that actually provides compensation of $65,000 a year to those that were incarcerated wrongly. It's a starting point. It doesn't give them back the years that was taken away from them, but it definitely gives them the ability to move forward from this point on.
Art.
Today is the anniversary of the Supreme Court decision in Brown versus Board of Education, and I would like to celebrate what progress we have made. Black Lives Matter has made progress in bringing attention to the needs for racial justice in our criminal justice system. We have a candidate for the governor of Georgia, Stacey Abrams, who could become the first African-American governor anywhere in the nation. It's not inconceivable.
Steve.
Well, after Rose federal judge Julie Robertson, who held Chris Kobach, Secretary of State, in contempt of court, that was the right thing to do. The wrong thing to do was to just fine him, because the taxpayers are going to pay that fine. She should have put him in prison for 1 day and let him feel that pain.
And finally, columnist George Will is known for sending readers to the dictionary with his writing. Apparently, thousands headed to Funk and Wagnalls last week while reading Will's not-so-positive views of Vice President Mike Pence. The column, headlined "Trump is no longer the worst person in government," calls Pence oleaginous. I've already been to the dictionary. It means oily and marked by an offensively ingratiating manner. Stay tuned. Immediately following Ruckus, KCPT continues its focus on the housing crisis in Kansas City, presenting the new documentary Evicted. That's Ruckus for this week. Back next Thursday at 7. Now for the Ruckettes and crew, Mike Shannon saying thanks for watching and good night.
Production funding for Ruckus has been provided by gifts from Dave and Jamie Cummings, the Hartwig family, the Courtney S. Turner Charitable Trust, John H. Mize and Bank of America N.A. co-trustees, and by viewers like you. Thank you.